So it took a little longer than I thought to make a little coffee. Hello there. People were waiting. I didn't expect any to be waiting. It's me, Zen. There's you. What's going on? How's your day going? Beautiful Saturday. I'll try to keep this one short, but y'all know how that happens. That doesn't ever happen. But, hello. What is this talk going to be about? Quantum weirdness. Maybe we'll get into computers. Maybe trinary computers. Maybe we'll get into... Start with binary computers. Trinary computers. Single pole... monopoles. Yes. Singularity. Duality. Hello there. Who is this? What's up, Finn? Binary, trinary. That idea of everything being a one, and that godlike nature of things. And then there's the surprise me button. I don't know if you know that bit by Alan Watts. If you were God and you could make anything you wanted happen, you could win every card game, win everything you played, always get everything exactly as you ordered it. You go to a restaurant and when you order something with ranch on the side and blah blah blah, it all comes exactly as you ordered it. Eventually, you would hit the surprise me button. And I think most people have hit the surprise me button many, many times in life. So there's something that, as technology, as Terrence McKenna would put it, time wave zero, the end of the mind calendar, singularity. There's a that's like this God mind, and you have it's kind of like when you're in a lucid dream and you have control of your dreams. So there's something great about that. But to end that, where we see things going, in some ways, it's mundane, repetitive, and there's too much sameness. If everything was the same, wouldn't it be quite boring, I guess? What's up, Skull? What are you doing? So interestingly, we'll get into that in a little bit, and we'll get into computers and see if we can develop something out of these ideas. But the other day I'd made some sigils, which I haven't done in a while. And what if you don't know how to make those and don't know the oh, there was some tea leaves in there. So immediately take another drink of the tea with the tea leaf. So if you don't know how or why they work, I'll explain that to you. Tell you how to do them. Interesting, they've been functioning pretty well so far. And I got up today and had a bunch of dreams, and I remembered a few of them. And then occasionally, I don't know if this happens to you, but there's words or ideas or phrases or symbols or something that will kind of stick with you and resonate. And it was this it was a complex of that that singularity of everything is one. Oh, we're all one. and the juxtaposition of everything is one thing. I mean, I get it, we're one giant organism, but we all have our separate experiences. But there was that kind of it's not a duality, it's just the how that plays out. And that was those ideas were kind of rumbling through my head. And so I woke up and that was going through my head. And then for whatever reason, somebody's channel came up that I I don't watch tarot channels. I don't watch many people's channels anymore. Here and there, just random buttons. Anyways, so I decided to check this person's channel out because it was a video on for Geminis, and if you didn't know, I'm a Gemini, and it's really interesting because it was very, very much resonated with me. I mean, if you don't know, I do read tarot, and I know I teach about these things. And they had made a reference to 222, and then this movie. So if you're into angelic numbers and what that means, a movie called 222, which is quite interesting as well, because it's about pattern recognition and dream world and interesting things. He goes, you should, if you're interested, check that out, because that was kind of resonating with this person who was doing the reading. And so I go to look up the movie to see what it is, and somebody else, I'm looking up the movie, but I put in 222, and it was a smaller tarot channel, and the title of the show came out yesterday, and it was literally Gemini, and something along the same lines. And so I'm listening to this person's reading, and it was almost identical to the other person's. And I wouldn't think that they were like Team Tarot, One person has a pretty big channel and an interesting following, and the other person I've never even, smaller channel, never even heard of. And you can't make this, because when people were just dropping cards and pulling, but yet not the same exact cards, but in a couple places, same cards. They were doing different style of reading too. So it's very, very interesting stuff. And it was very much akin to some things that are interesting going on in my life. And some things that were more like future dwelling of how life is. Encouraging. So, where to go from here? Good morning. Papa, I guess you do not know me. And answer your own question there. I think that's, you could probably get a good answer to that. That I don't know, what month is it? What year is it? And considering I know what it isn't and what it is, no. I mean, I don't know. It's like, what are you asking me? First of all, I'm not going to speak on that on here, because what that would mean on here is if I were to speak to those words, this channel wouldn't be, it would shut the video off. So we will not speak of such things. But I think you could understand. I have this weird thing where I teach about health and how your body functions and how your organs exist and how the human body, I kind of get into all that stuff. So yeah, cool. So what else? I'm gonna get farther into this computer, I don't know, simulation theory, living in a computer matrix versus which I seen a movie the other day, which was crazy interesting. It was Mandela Effect. Have you never seen the movie Mandela Effect? It's pretty decent. Pretty decent, interesting movie. I suggest it. It's all right, man. And that gets into simulation theory and things. I don't know that we live in a simulation. I think that, I'll put it there, that I'm quite sure we live on top of a motherboard of a computer. And if it is in any way NPCs and things like that, there's a possibility. If it's, I don't doubt there are silica beings. Perhaps I am one of them. I don't doubt that there's like Westworld style kind of thing. There's not just one type of there's not one type of what you might call a human here. Considering how vast is the nature of reality, above ground, below ground, in the air, and in the ocean, and how species live. If we just look at, if I go look at ducks, which I'm gonna go play ducks today. There are so many. They're much the same, but they all have quite different personalities, and they're idiosyncratic. They're idiosyncratic. They have a bunch of different little things that are different about them, and some are completely different species, but they're still ducks. So even in something like that, or bird, you say that's a bird, but there's so many different birds. And then there's fish, but there's fish that are not you wouldn't call a pike a bass. You know what I mean? So I don't know. There seems like beyond just the standard differentiations we have as what you call humans, and then I think there's different species of humans, and whether or not that's an organic or inorganic system. I think we do live on a computer motherboard with organic things involved. So, that being said, I don't know. What I didn't want to hit the record button on here so quickly, but I seen some people were waiting, so rather than push the show back further, I was trying to get a couple of my thoughts together. As usual, we'll see where they go. Yeah, Skull, I get you, man. Just to be safe, yeah, get extra, get extras, just get all of them. Oh yeah, when you start looking at aerial views of places, John Levi's earlier work where he shows that there's so many people that do it, and some have shown it out even more explicitly. There's zero doubt. You couldn't, even if it's not a circuit board, which it probably is, which explains a lot. To build it, that the infrastructure of this realm to the magnitude that it is, if we just said, all right, let's just give here's a map of land, and here all you humans, and we have take away some of them, even if we were given the knowledge, but just go, now here's this land, now in this many years develop what's going on in this realm. Let's just assume, let's just start in what most people would agree that the big buildings, for the most part, when did they start coming around? 1900, maybe 1800s. But then you see, horse and buggy kind of things. So let's just say 1850s. So in 200 years, if you gave the population 200 years to start from scratch to develop the entire infrastructure, the buildings, the houses, then the computers and the computer systems and the cars and that's inconceivable. What up, Finn? Design for skateboarders? No, that's interesting. I was hanging out with a couple skateboarders the other day. Grinding some rails, bro. Yeah, whenever you stay in places that have high ceilings, it really makes you curious. Like, there's so many buildings that you walk by, and you can tell there's a doorway. Like, I walked through New Orleans, right? And there's buildings that are, banks especially. How high does the ceiling have to be in there? How high does the ceiling, how high must it be? For what reason? And then you look at the front door, and there's a small door cut into what is clearly a very large, I would probably say it's probably cast iron or some other heavy, heavy metal that you couldn't have opened as a single 6 foot tall male. Most of you are probably, normal size males, like whatever, 5'8", little midgets. but, but like, they had to cut a door into a door. Why would they make it so big? It makes no sense. And then you look at all these giant chandeliers that weren't used the way that they're purported to be used, and it's all quite astounding, really. The giant gold with their gold coins. Yeah, I mean, there's, what was the gold for? I mean, it depends on who you ask and how the gold was made or harvested. If you got into Slave Species of the Gods by why am I tripping on his name right now? I'll get back to his name in a second. But anyways, he gets into the mining of gold, and if you believe the history, there's no way we could have mined gold because of the chemicals and the reactions and the things to actually go through the process of digging and then mining and doing all the processes to make the gold. It couldn't have been done unless there was something else going on. But there is the possibility there's an easier way to make gold, which includes high voltage and mercury. But regardless, the size of the architecture is just too outstanding. It's, you show people a couple buildings, they're like, yeah, well, so but then you're like, all right, but all of these buildings, and then if you slideshow somebody for hours on end buildings all over the world, and you're like, all right, okay, the pyramids, people, you just focus on the 3 pyramids. How did they build those? All right, well, who cares? It's just some giant blocks. I could tell you how it was done, and it's pretty easy to do. It didn't involve what you think it involved. Even if you used high technology, you could use low technology to do it. So let's get rid of that. What about these giant steeples and these giant buildings that are churches all over the world that have this insane, ornate, perfectly carved or printed architecture, and the buildings are so huge? How did they figure out how to make organs? Have you ever studied organs, the biggest ones in the world, and like how often they need to be cleaned, and the design of them? And they supposedly had no digital technology to make sure the sound was perfect, so they're doing this by ear. Do you understand how large some of these organs are and how perfect acoustically is? Like with acoustic, if you had software designed to tell you about the acoustics of a room, that would take, I mean, right now we probably have some that would be close, but like, you're telling me that without that, somebody just like draw out a room like, yeah, this would count like this, and it's gonna be perfect in the space, and they're gonna design a space that is so just start looking at organs. You tell me that you can't, you look at your house, and that house, you ask somebody who can build a giant house, beautiful giant house, like, build that organ. They'll laugh at you like you're insane. How would you even start that? Oh, well, they're not a music. Ask somebody that builds instruments even. They'll be like, no, I can't do that. Ask somebody that knows about music. They'll be like, ask somebody that does music, that has engineered things to even design a church and the organs to make it sound even close. It's not going to happen. But those are everywhere. Interesting. They're geometrically perfect every way. Yes. There was a building that I was in. Maybe some of you have been there in Italy. Um, that there would be an orator in the front of the room. There no microphones. It was the acoustic properties of the dome and the way that it was set up that the person could be in the front of the room. I don't know how many yards, 50 yards away. And no matter where you were sitting in the room, all you do is put your head like this, and the person could literally whisper, and it would sound as if it was echoing and vibrating, and you could hear it perfectly, like they were talking to you, like this, but they were going like this. That no matter where you were, to design something that perfect, a computer probably couldn't even figure that out right now. You go through, you would have the coding on that would be so difficult. Okay, okay, let's just say it can be done. How was it done when that thing was built? Apparently, I think it was like 1500s. You're telling me the 1500s? They didn't have that, did they? Not even to design it out, but to actually build it. Because you realize you could design something out, and if the geometry is off by a millimeter in a giant building, the acoustical properties won't hold. I don't know if you understand what interference waves are and standing waveforms and how the tiniest little bit off, adjusts the sound quality of the entire auditorium. Look at auditoriums now. Great, acoustically fantastic, but when were they built? And those are simple, just simple. Just a couple angles to keep the acoustic properties in a hall or whatever. Yeah, but I'm talking about using a dome to make sound like that. Uh, Sorry. I mean, why do you think? Why do you think some people pay $1,000 for a Bose sound system? Because you know the technology that went into building that versus another speaker that cost $50. What they couldn't just use because it took so long to develop, even to do something acoustically with the speaker for a Bose system. Wonderful stuff. I mean, right now you can find stuff that's equivalent, but really, and they don't even hang a candle, you know, next to what was being done with the old ancient healing centers. I mean churches. I mean healing center. Wait, what were they? Yeah. Hey Finn. Ah, there you go. Versing diabetes by fasting 2 days a week, cutting out a lot of sugar and carbs, and not eating past 7, and eat breakfast at 11. Good stuff, man. Yeah, 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 yeah. That sounds about right. A lot of the sugar, man. The sugar and what do you say? Would you cut out carbs too? Is that what you said? Yeah, because the carbs break down into the carbohydrates or break down into sugars. And I mean, there's other ways to do it, but that's the quickest way to do it. Fasting. There you go, man. Hello, Divine. Took like 3 months, yeah. But you see, it really only took mostly the reversal of the diet, 2 days a week, fasting. That was doing a bunch of healing. So it took you. So after the first day, major healing. So it took you really it took you 8 days. 8 days essentially. That'd be if you really think about it, because everything else was just an add-on to the or it's addition by subtraction, right? Addition to health by subtracting things out of your diet. So there's 2 days of fasting. If you just did that in a row, every day multiplies. It's not even multiplying. It's basically day one, day two, day three. It starts to form a J curve of the health benefits you get. So yeah, that probably sincerely 8 days, and then you would continue to change your diet after that, not add all the sugars and shit. Skull. Japanese construction company tried to recreate the Pyramid of Giza at 1/60th, and they gave up realizing that it was pretty impossible. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Stan? I think he said that he said 3 months, but we were talking about doing 2 days of fasting. If you weren't here, you can scroll up, Stan. um, Divine. So I'm guessing at night you do it. Man, that's so interesting. Somebody was doing a video on TMJ the other day and tinnitus and TMJ. Hold on, give me a second. Let me see what the video was. Mm. There was a couple. There was a couple that people were saying that because usually that's grinding teeth is when you're sleeping. Usually not, if you're grinding your teeth when you're awake, that's then there's a couple release points that might be stressed, but they were saying that doing some breathing exercises worked. I'll have to go find the video. I forget which ones they said exactly, but I think it was probably got into the gamma, and it got them into the gamma breath, which is like my old videos on that. It's pretty easy to find those. And then something else, you might want to look up Dr. Shah, SHA. I'm sure he has the healing sounds for that. I would assume the grinding teeth are related to probably traumas earlier, and there's probably a release point, and I'm trying to think of where it would be. It's probably up in here. Something's gonna hold your this to this. I'll think about that. But yeah, there's some breathing patterns and some sound things. Definitely that Dr. Shah probably does. The Tao, the healing arts of Tao. Yeah, I mean, yeah, wearing that would definitely help at least to begin with. Whoa, that's crazy, man. From 10.2 to 5.0. Wow. Yeah, Finn, there you go, man. Hmm. Yeah, I'll meditate on that too. And there's probably there's definitely some acupressure points. There's probably some exercises, and it's it probably it's probably related to some sort of trauma. It's probably a mental thing, but I'll give it some thought. So what time are we looking at here? And I do have to make a phone call. Somebody needed specific help with something, so I'm gonna try. I'll kick it with you guys for another 10 minutes. If I say 10 minutes, you know how that works. 10 minutes means 30. We will see. I have to go collect beverages and oh I just came up on the bird seed. I got the big bag of duck feed. It's not bird seed. I don't really feed the birds, but ducks birds. I don't know. So I gotta feed them today. Haven't seen them in a couple days. Foul. They stand there not foul. They are hardly foul. What's that joke about foul balls? It's a baseball duck. You get the joke. Something about foul balls, but huh. Waterfalls. Are there air falls and are there dirt falls? I guess there's more baseball jokes. Although I think the only joke about baseball is it even exists as a sport. Despite the fact that baseball as a sport is quite encoded into a lot of geometries of reality. And like the diamond, the look at New York, 314 feet, 303.14, and then the number of people on the field, the innings. There's a whole thing there. It's like 11 people on the field in soccer and football and yep. There's a bunch of coding there. The fowls have balls. Oh, check it, guys. Speaking of foul balls and bowels, I've just drank enough coffee, so I'm gonna go release my foul balls. And I will give some thought to the was it TMJ and teeth grinding, and see if I can find some points, pressure points, and what other things. But look up Dr. Shah. He's like in the Tao, and I'm sure specifically he has some sounds that you can do, and there are. And I'll look up what the breathing pattern is exactly. I think it might be. I don't know if it's the full gamma breath, but yeah. Dr. Pradeep. Oh, and I will remind everybody, as per usual, if you'd like to donate, you can, and I appreciate it very much. CashApp, PayPal, it's beneath. Venmo. Also, if you want any one-on-ones and you have any more specific questions, such as, why am I bleeding out of my ears while I sleep, and you don't feel like talking about that on here, or if you have you got the funkadelic relic going on in your general downstairs mix up, you don't feel like talking about that on here, we can talk about that, whatever, or if just maybe tarot readings, because I don't really like to go too deep on tarot readings on here, because there's too many people that do it, and it's just not my bag to be competing with people doing overall energy readings for the entire fucking world. Yeah. So everyone, as per usual, stay really cool, be interesting, be weird, be yourself, because everyone else is taken. Interested people are interesting. So stay interested in things, and help everyone else when you can. And if you can't do that, help yourself. Be good to people, unless they need to get a backhand, and then give them a backhand and tell them I said hello. Peace out, everybody. Talk to y'all soon. Toodles.